Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. I'm having chair issues, but my name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. Craig, it's Taco Tuesday, my friend.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
Oh, gotta love this song. Gotta love this song. Folks,
Great song.
Taco Tuesday is well, it's one of my favorite days of the week. It has made the beginning of the week more fun.
I was going to say Taco Tuesday. It's an American tradition.
Exactly. So that's what I keep telling folks. I'm like, look, the taco is the quintessential American food because it is something that originated in another country as something else and has become uniquely American.
Right, and then we stole it and made it our own. That's what we do. America!
America!
Yeah, that's it. You brought your heritage here from your other country. We bastardized it, and now we claim it as our own. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what America is, because there are very few things that are uniquely like American that didn't come from or have no history or background from someplace else in the world.
Exactly.
We just take it and make it better.
When you hear the whole "give me your tired, give me your weak, give me your poor," that's so we can exploit them and turn them into American things. You know? America.
So how are things going, my friend?
Whew, too many tacos at lunch today. You tell me I'm like a little taco high right now. I'm way up here. I'm having a little taco buzz going on. It's all that cilantro.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, we did not do tacos for lunch, but tacos for dinner tacos for dinner is on the agenda.
Ah, gotcha. That's right. You guys, I keep forgetting I catch you between a lunch and dinner there for showtime. See, it's just post dinner time here for me, or right about dinner time here for me. Hold on, let me see there. Let's see. Today's tacos. Yeah,
very special.
Tacos.
Very special.
Yeah. So, all good.
Most definitely.
Very
most
good.
Definitely. Yeah. So hey, let's let's jump right into it. Well, I almost forgot. Before we jump into it, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
El Sponsorinos. Here we go. Let's say hi to our friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can go buy from the factory direct for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you call them and you're a first responder, you get a discount. So don't forget that. If you call them, say, I'm a first responder, and you can prove it, you get a discount. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Don't forget to check out the California 6th congressional race as well. If you want the best in holsters, tactical holsters, concealed tactical holsters, get your butts over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use a discount code The Rundown, just like it says right down there, The Rundown. It's all caps, no spaces, one word. Get yourself a nice discount there. And if you're going outdoors, you're going tactical, you want some tactical field gear, you want some hunting gear, you want some, fishing gear, archery gear, whatever the gear you want to wear is when you're heading outdoors, it's everything but the gun over at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit them by just following the link in the description to this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them and make sure you tell them that it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Real quick, I want to, for those of you, when we started the show, if you got a little blown out, I want to apologize. I use the equipment for multiple different shows and whatnot, and I had the volumes set a wee bit differently. And Mike has that bass in his voice that carries. So I had to take a little bit of your power back, Mike. I had to tone you down just a little bit because you got that big booming voice, and I couldn't have you exercising your white privilege all over the show.
So you said take away some of my power. I checked to make sure I'm still white. We're good though, Craig. It's good. It's good.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. Well, I'm glad we just wanted y'all to know that I did recognize that it was a wee bit hot in the beginning because I know if I went over and checked the comments right now, there'd probably be some people like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I'm going to blame it on the tacos, Craig, because they've been making me loud all afternoon.
They definitely, as long as they don't call us a blowout, then you're okay. I guess no one knows but you in Location Bravo if that's the case right now.
I'd say there was a lot of cilantro. Fresh greens, come on,
Oh. All right, let's get started. In the spirit of the Firearms Policy Coalition, Democrats in New Mexico have been responding to the governor there, who decided to institute an executive order suspending the right to be able to carry or possess or transport firearms there in New Mexico. And their response has been pretty much, even the Democrats, has pretty much been along the lines of FPC's commentary, which is, F you, no. Check it out.
Suspending open and concealed carry. I think it's time to talk about the absoluteness of the discussion and the current court actions that suggest that the Second Amendment is an absolute right and none of the others are. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute.
New Mexico's governor suspending open and concealed carry across Albuquerque for at least 30 days, citing an uptick in gun violence. But even some Democrats say the move is a violation of citizens' rights. California.
All right, so yeah, in this particular story, what's basically happening is there quote unquote an uptick in gun violence, and so as a result, the governor there has decided to say, nope, no more Second Amendment. We're going to suspend the Second Amendment in certain areas. It says here, liberals turn on New Mexico governor over gun suspension, noting that it violates the Constitution, which is really interesting. That, I mean, it's so bad that even liberals have, like I said, in this particular case, have turned on her. It says Democratic governor, New Mexico governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is coming under fire from members of her own party after temporarily suspending open and concealed carry across Albuquerque under an emergency order. I support gun safety laws. However, this order from the governor of New Mexico violates the U.S. Constitution. No state in the union can suspend the federal Constitution. There is no such thing as state public health emergency exceptions in the U.S. Constitution. California Democrat Representative Ted Lieu said. Now, Mike, I have to tell you, Ted Lieu is a gun grabber. There is absolutely, positively no doubt from his time in the California legislature, as well as the things he supported in Congress. So for him to come out and say, "Yeah, F you, no," that's a pretty big step.
That is, and he must be up for re-election here soon. Oh yeah, that's right, he is. He's up for re-election every 2 years. Craig, I try to look at the tactical reasons for them doing this. We know that this governor kind of squeaked by when she got this job, right? So it's almost like she's a test bed governor for what the Democrats want to do. It almost seems like the rest of the Democrat governors have gotten with her and said, "Listen, you weren't really supposed to have that job anyway, so try this and see what happens. Let's see how far we can get with you doing some of this crazy stuff that we all want to do. We want to see the legal ramifications of what happens." I'll tell you what really shocks me the most about all of this, though, Craig, is when she says there are no absolute rights. Nothing is. How did she say it? She said there's no absolute rights. It's not. She said not even her oath is something that is enforceable.
Well, Mike, what gets me is, and now keep in mind, and I really believe that all of the COVID restrictions that were put in place were basically guys like Gavin Mussolini, who declared himself dictator in chief of the Republic of California for 2.5 years, or for almost 3 years. Even basically what they're doing is they're saying we can suspend the law, we can suspend the Constitution, so that we can do whatever it is that we want. And they're testing this out. They got away with it to a large degree with COVID. Now they want to test it on other things. And notice they're calling it, it's an emergency. Because see, under an emergency, they get to say, no, we can suspend the passage of laws or laws that have been passed. We can suspend the process, and I get to do whatever the F I want. And that's what they're trying to do here, and that's what this is a test. And she's going to see in court how far the judicial branch of the government is going to allow her to go.
She says, no constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. Absolutely astounding, Craig. I mean, at this point, you really want my honest response with this? Is she needs to go to jail. There needs to be a sheriff in that state that says, and believe me, it's New Mexico, there's plenty of them, you violated the Constitution, you violated the state Constitution, you violated the law, I've got some pretty bracelets for you, Governor. I mean, that sheriff will be the next governor after if he does right. That. But somebody needs to put handcuffs on this woman and go, no.
Well, she violated her oath of office, which means that once again, I don't know the state constitution, but I gotta believe that if there is a way in which to remove a governor who has violated their oath of office, she's done that. And let's just be clear, she's not the first to do it. There are a number of not just governors, but legislators who propose legislation that is in clear violation of the U.S. Constitution as well as the state constitution. And The reason why they keep doing it is because there's no consequences for them doing it. They get away with it time after time after time. They've got to be held to account. If they're not, they will continue to do it. It's the same thing, man, with criminals, right? You go to a state or you go to a place where they don't enforce the law, guess what? More people break the law. Same thing with you have people. It's even worse when you have people who believe that they are the law. Dude, if you are a part of the executive branch, that means that you enforce the law. If you're part of the judicial branch, that means you interpret the law. If you're part of the legislative branch, that means you make the law. But none of those individuals in any of those areas are the law. Correct,
exactly. And so this is what I'm saying. I believe, I know you're talking about the removal from office. That's all on the, let's call that the civil side of the court, okay? I'm talking about moving her actions to the criminal side of the court. She's not just a representative. She's not just a congressperson. She's not just some council person that's proposing these laws. She is the chief executive of that state. She has willfully said, no constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. Now, with just saying that, Craig, I believe is cause enough to remove her office. But she's taken action on it. So I believe it's time to find a sheriff in that state that says, no, you're under arrest. You're done. You can go sit in the jail until this gets taken care of. Lieutenant Governor sworn in. That's all it has to take. Because listen, if the president of the United States did this, you know what that would be? That would be a coup. That would be a tyranny. That would be the establishment of a monarchy. You cannot go around and say, I am here to ignore the law and do whatever the F I want. That's what she's doing.
Too bad. So sad. Bye-bye.
Yep.
That's my perspective.
Yep.
All right. For those of you who are unaware, the new mayor, or the New York mayor, Mayor Eric Adams, who has, quite frankly, in my opinion, been a dramatic disappointment as mayor of New York City, is now
a Democrat. He's been a disappointment as a Democrat.
Yeah, as a Democrat, but he is the now considered the new Black Trump, or the Black Trump, because he dared to have any commentary about the impact that the immigration crisis is having on New York. Here are the words that he uttered that led him to be labeled the Black Donald Trump.
Started with a madman down in Texas decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. 150 and 10,000 migrants. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. And this team here, we stated, let's do everything possible before we have to push it out into neighborhoods and communities. Month after month, I stood up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you. Well, we're here. We're here. We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending.
That's right. New York City Mayor Adams described as Black Trump forewarning migrant crisis to destroy city. Bigoted thinking. This is MSNBC writer claims that Adams has embraced bigoted thinking after he spoke out on how the migrant crisis is affecting New York City. Now, Mike, he's had to declare, and had to go to various departments there in New York and have them cut their budgets 15% in order to cover the increased costs. Now, mind you, this is for 100,000. More than 7 million have come across our southern border, and they're only being asked to have to deal with a fraction of them. And yet it's going to break the bank there in New York City.
Yeah, well, we know thanks to their previous mayor, Wilhelm, that they were running on thin margins anyway, and they were during COVID. They ran out of money and had to get money from Uncle Joe as well. But it's amazing, Craig. When you listen to his speech, he's a Democrat. Like we started off saying, he's a Democrat mayor of this city. Yet he's found a way to stand between the Republicans and the Democrats on this, right? He starts off by blaming that despicable man down in Texas, throwing the Republicans under the bus, right? And then he says, now here in New York, we can't afford it. No one's helping us, throwing shade on the Governor Hochul there and the president for not providing any funds. And it's as I listen to this, Craig, this is not a matter of conscience for him. This is a matter of money for him. Because if he had enough money to do this, there'd be no problem. He keeps saying that they're running out of resources. Resources means this, folks, means the moolah, right? And the governor's not giving him any, and the feds are not giving him any at this point, saying you got to deal with it. And I really believe that they're not giving him a lot of money because he keeps throwing them under the bus.
Well, there is that, but the other thing is they're like, well, yeah, if you guys are going to pass sanctuary city policies, which I firmly believe, then you probably should have made sure to account for that in your budget, which means you probably need to be taxing your businesses and your wealthy a little bit more, even though they're fleeing from your state in large numbers, or you're from your city in large numbers. The problem is that their policies just don't work, and they've got to blame somebody. And in this particular case, I honestly believe that Eric Adams is a classic liberal who is fighting against progressives. But the problem is he doesn't want to accept the fact that Republicans are right on this. And so instead of blaming progressive policies, he's blaming Republicans, which makes absolutely no sense because the Republicans are the ones saying, we need to secure our southern border. We need to make sure that we're not just having people just come on across the border. Now, he's also, though, quite frankly, blaming Republicans because they're sharing the wealth when it comes to the diversity that is being presented to the United States through an open southern border.
Yeah, and listen, hopefully folks understand what's going on in Texas. This is not just making a political point. Texas is littered with towns that are 10,000, 20,000 people along the southern border. Well, you can't take 10,000 people and put them in a town of 10,000 people and expect them to be absorbed into it. But you can take 100,000 people and send them to a town of 10 million and expect them to be absorbed into it when they're a sanctuary city also. All right. So,
right. Right. Well, it's and to be clear, we're talking millions of people.
Yes.
In towns that are tens of thousands. Towns built for tens of thousands of people have millions. And they're sending hundreds of thousands to cities with millions who have said, You're welcome. If you've entered our country illegally, you are welcome to come here. We will take care of you. Maybe it's just me, but I think they're just taking them at their word. And they're, by the way, they're asking them where they want to go. They're not just shipping them off to New York. They're saying, where you going to go? Let's see, we got California, we got New York, we got Chicago, we got Detroit. Where you want to go?
Yeah. No, exactly right. You know, and it's you also hear a lot of Adams' Democrat values coming out, right? When he says they're taking them in, he goes, Craig, he listed everything they got to do. He goes, we got to feed them, we got to bathe them, we got to get them school, we got to get them health care, we got to wash their sheets, right?
Right.
Why aren't they doing any of this for their own homeless, for these Americans that are there, including the homeless veterans that are there? All of a sudden, they have to do 100% of everything for these immigrants, yet they're doing zero for their own citizens and their own homeless.
Well, because America is evil, and everyone else from everywhere else is good, and therefore we have to take care of everyone from everywhere else, and our own people are evil and bad, and so therefore they should suffer. That's their attitude. That is their attitude.
True. You never know who's going to come from another country, bring the next, taco craze or something like that. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a good point. All right, let him in.
Yeah.
Just let him in.
By the way, we always considered you the Black Trump. So, we're
huge. It's huge. I'm going to be huge.
huge.
Look. Wow. The sad part is that's not the first time I've been called that, but I generally, well, I'm not even going to go there. Let's go on to our next story.
We could shorten it. We could call you the Blump. How about that?
The Blump. Okay. California is trying to take your kids. Sound like an exaggeration? I don't think so. Here we go. So California denies parents the right to raise their children. Listen to this story. A new California law makes it a crime if you don't accept your child's choice of gender identity. The bill could potentially make you guilty of child abuse if you refuse to call your son Jane and buy him dresses, said Bob Hogue in Red State. Authorities could take away your kid if you don't bend the knee. California's controversial Assembly Bill 957, which requires parents to affirm their child's gender identity or lose custody, passed the state Senate. The standard of well-being of a minor is being changed to include a parent's affirmation of a child's gender identity as part of the health, safety, and welfare of the child. Now that it's passed the Senate, the Assembly will need to agree, which in the heavily Democratic legislative body assuredly will. Then heads to Governor Newsom, who will almost certainly sign it since he endorses gender identity politics. Mike, this is literally, so if you are in the middle of a custody battle, right, and they say, well, I accept the fact that my 7-year-old wants to be called a girl and my spouse doesn't, that would be considered child abuse and therefore a reason to take a child away from their parent. Democrats, look, if you are a Democrat and you are watching this show and this does not alarm you, and this does not bother you, then there is something wrong with you. I'm sorry, I'm not the extremist on this. If my 7-year-old wanted to be a transformer and wanted to be Optimus Prime, are you telling me that I now have to take him to the doctor and say, you need to put some wheels on my child, and because they're now a transformer? Really? I'm speechless. Go ahead, Mike. Please.
And I expect in California that healthcare would be free as well. I would think. I mean, if they're going to mandate it, it might as well be free. Yeah, Greg, this should be a Thursday story because this has got Throat Punch Thursday written all over it. This has got. Come here with your ideas. I got something for you. This is absolutely ridiculous to think that a parent can be held criminally liable for a child's a mental disorder, right? Is that what we're talking about here, isn't it? So To think that that's possible is absolutely ludicrous. Hey, Craig, I'm curious. I wonder what happens if they go to court in that custody dispute, and the kid says, "I identify as belonging to my father over there." Do you think they give any weight to that statement?
Absolutely positive. Absolutely positively not. The thing that gets me about this, Mike, is you're talking about children who, in many cases, I mean, if you can remember back to your childhood, there were a lot of things that I thought and I believed as a child that I no longer believe because I did this thing. What's it called? Oh yeah, I grew up. Right? I learned, I gained experience, and I gained wisdom. And should we be allowing children, because keep in mind, this is not just a random, oh, you're affirming them. That means you're also okaying them to take puberty blockers, things that are, cross-gender hormones, allowing your daughters to get mastectomies, allowing your little boys to be castrated both physically and or chemically. Things that have permanent consequences. And you want to allow a minor to make decisions about stuff like this. There's a reason why country after country after country is pulling back. That had been wide open on the whole gender stuff, on the whole transformation and all of that. They're all saying, whoa, they're all slowing down. We're not finding that this is actually helping. In fact, it is actually hurting.
No, you're right. You're right. This is... Again, it's going to get going down a dark road there in California. It has. I don't know how you people live there. I really don't. I just don't know. I don't know how you don't wake up every morning and the people read the newspaper and go, "That's it, I'm out," and they just go. They just head east.
It is happening, but keep in mind, Mike. I will take you back pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, stuff like this was an anomaly. It wasn't the norm. It now has become the norm in California, or from the politicians. And a lot of people are just catching up because they're not even aware of the fact that it is in fact becoming the norm. They're like, whoa, wait, what? They're literally, people on all sides are just waking up to this. That's why when you watch the news reports about protests at school board meetings, you're not just seeing right-wing white Republicans. You are seeing Muslims, you are seeing Latinos, you are seeing black folks, you are seeing you're even seeing gay people come up and say, wait, whoa. Just because someone is effeminate does not mean that they're a girl. You don't need to be trans. They may just be gay. I mean, that's how crazy they have gone in some of this stuff. Yeah. Anyway, moving right along, because we're coming up against it here. Let's see here. Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee is a congresswoman who is running for Senate here in the state of California, and she is upset and angry. Why is she upset and angry? Well, because the governor isn't just handing a seat over to her when it comes to basically Gavin Newsom came out and said that Gavin Newsom came out and said, look, we all recognize Dianne Feinstein is gone. She's done. Hopefully she's done. If she winds up not being able to serve out the rest of her term, he said, I'm going to appoint someone. In fact, I'll appoint a black woman, but only someone who's going to be a caretaker, not someone who's going to who's actually running for the seat. And the reason why Barbara Lee is angry was because, she wanted to be appointed so that she could just be handed the seat. I mean, I'm guessing that what she wanted was for this to basically be her reparations payment. That's what I'm guessing. She was expecting for her reparations payment a direct payment of one Senate seat.
When is Feinstein's term up?
2024.
2024. Okay, so if Feinstein cannot stay in her seat until 2024, so the next 13, 14 months, Lee would get it, right? But that would only be for that 13, 14 months. So she's expecting to be handed a 7-year term is what she wants? Is that what she's asking for?
Pretty much. I mean, whoever wins the Democratic nomination is probably going to win the seat. Right now, Adam Schifferbrains is actually the leading candidate, and I think she believes that if she were appointed, that would then help her to become the leading candidate for the Senate.
But so let's say Feinstein, she can't maintain the seat as of tomorrow.
Right.
So for the remaining 13, 14 months here, he's going to have a runoff. He's going to have an election. How's this going to work?
I don't know. No, he would just wind up appointing somebody if she doesn't finish. So he gets to appoint somebody.
And she's upset because it might not be her appointed. It might be Schiff.
Well, it won't. Well, he won't appoint anybody who is actually currently running. So if you're running for the seat, nope, he'll appoint somebody who will just agree to finish out the term.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, if you decide, I can see this. All right. So he wants a caretaker for this seat.
Right.
And if you want to run for Senate later, then you can run for it. But
the problem is the election is taking place right now.
Right. His decision is the only way you can take this seat is if you're not running for it.
Exactly.
Wow. So it's kind of like he's trying to avoid election interference.
Pretty much, yes.
Wow.
And yeah, you could tell he's running for president. Anyway,
there's some cash involved in this somewhere. That's what that is. That's what's going on.
Pretty much. I would not doubt it. Would not doubt it one bit. All right, moving right along. We're going to now move on to our parting shot, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Find them at hogholster.com. Make sure you use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, so by the way, just so you know, there's a big, everyone's talking about, the uptick in COVID cases, and they're trying to say that there's a new pandemic that could be starting. Well, I agree with this guy right here. Let me know when the pandemic is serious enough that they stop the border invasion.
Yeah. Till then, I'm over here having looks like he's having a champagne Shirley Temple, something like that. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. No, because obviously, if it's not serious enough that you're willing to secure our southern border and make sure people who we don't know what they have or anything like that, if you don't know any of that, if you're not willing to secure a southern border for them, then, well, hey, forget y'all. Next we have, and this was a point that actually I had been making. I've been making. It says here, the leader of the Proud Boys got 22 years in prison for January 6th, and he wasn't even there. Does this mean that we can start imprisoning BLM leaders for what happened during the summer of 2020?
No, Craig, because they're minorities, and that would be racist.
Well, no, it's actually because that was mostly peaceful, lawful protests, right?
Right,
You know,
that's right.
Mostly peaceful fires and looting.
Right, exactly.
And death.
Yeah, there you go. Now you got it. Yeah.
Okay. And the final one, and this is all there in the lines of along the lines of Eric Adams, brought to you by the Babylon Bee. Democrats complain that illegal immigrants are destroying their sanctuary cities.
Well, listen, I know this is a post from the Babylon Bee, but you just saw Eric Adams say this.
Look. The best comedy is based on reality.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what's such a trip, man, is you read some of the headlines in the Babylon Bee and you're like, wow, that could be the New York Times.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, Michael, it's about that time for us to say the word run DMC, a Jam Master J. Actually, it's about that time for us to go. But before we do, we got another shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, let's say hi to Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you can get rifle and pistol caliber barrels at rifle and pistol lengths, whatever you decide for your next AR builds. So check them out at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out the California 6th Congressional race. And if you want some going to the field gear, some tactical gear, you can get everything but the gun at uscombatgear.com.
Once again, folks, please take a minute, visit our sponsors, and let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encourage your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Talk to you then.
Hump Day.